Are you the guild master of a large Hypixel guild with over 100 players and have to spend over an hour every week tracking everyone's guild XP contributions? In this video I'll be explaining the very simple steps I go through when tracking guild XP, which only takes about 5 minutes per week at most. First, let's look at the end product of all this. This is a Google Sheet which shows all of the data we'll be using, in this case guild XP, and which also automatically performs calculations on these values to show us the total guild XP collected by each member and their average daily guild XP. Furthermore, the Google Sheet automatically color codes all of the data to show us who is getting a sufficient amount of GXP, green, or who may be underperforming, in red. Perhaps the best thing about this though is the fact that we can input the data in any order we like, and the Google Sheets will automatically sort all of the guild XP values into the correct rows in the table corresponding to each member. I'll be going through how to do all of this in the second half of the video, but first I'll be showing you how to import your data into Google Sheets in the first place. So every Sunday I type the following command, !weekly Mandela all into this Discord channel, and the Discord bot, Hypixel Guild bot, will output a list of all our members and the guild XP they each collect. The syntax for this command is the length of time over which you want to check guild XP, in this case a week, followed by the name of the guild, Mandela, and the number of players. I've just put all because I want to check all of the members, but if you want to check, say, the top 100 or so, you can just put down the number 100 instead. I'll put a link to the Hypixel bot in the description below so you can download it yourself. But now that we have our data, we can copy and paste all of this and put it straight into Google Sheets. However, you'll notice that when we do so, all of the data gets put into a single cell. And we don't want this, we want the data to be neatly laid out into rows for each member and into different columns with their Minecraft IGN in one and the amount of GXP they collect into another. So for this we're going to be using Notepad, and we're just going to copy and paste all this data. First we remove all these unnecessary spaces that we've got, and then we copy and paste this back into Google Sheets, and you'll notice that now it's all into different rows. To put the data in different columns, we need to go to Data, Split Text Columns, and we click Space under Separator, where we want the data to split. Now we can delete this column with all the indexes of all the different members to leave just the IGNs and the guild XP they each collect. However, you'll notice that these names are all followed by colons. All we have to do here is hold down Control F, type in a colon, click these 3 dots here, and we click Replace All. And this will remove all of the colons. As we left the Replace With section empty, this will replace all the colons in a spreadsheet with nothing. In other words, it simply deletes them. So now what we have to do is import these values into the larger spreadsheet with all the other weeks. However, the order of the IGNs is different, as the order from Discord is in the order of decreasing guild XP, which will vary from week to week. So we therefore have to use a tool in Google Sheets called VLOOKUP, which stands for vertical lookup. In the original sheet, you'll notice that when we click on these cells, instead of the actual values for each member's guild XP, we have a complicated command which includes VLOOKUP. This command tells Google Sheets to look for the guild XP collected by the guild member in the same row, in this case me, BubbleTot, from the list of values we imported from Discord into the second sheet, which is this. To do this, we first have to tell Google Sheets what the reference cell is. This is the cell containing the IGN we're searching for in the second sheet. In this case, it will be in cell B3, which is me, BubbleTot. And then we tell Google Sheets the name of the sheet containing the guild XP list we just imported from Discord. So in this case, it's VLOOKUP import from Discord, which is this one. And then we follow this by the range of cells containing this list. In this case, in the case of week 3, this will be from cell N1 down to O67. Now you'll notice here, instead of N1 and O67, we put N1 and O150. And the reason for this is because this will allow me to just copy and paste the same command from week to week, so I don't have to keep changing the number of members to search from. Because the maximum number of members in a guild is 125, so if we put down 150, we know that it will never exceed this value. We then put in the column from which we want to import the value. In this case, it's guild XP. So we want to import the guild XP of the member into this cell. So we find the column containing the guild XP. In this case, it's the second one along. From N to O, it's the second one. So we put in a number 2 here. And then we follow that with the word false, which will simply tell Google Sheets that if it is unable to find an exact match, then it should just put not applicable or NA into the cell. If we put in true, then it might end up searching for a similar IGN, and that will complicate matters by getting two people with a similar IGN getting mixed up with the Guild XP, and we don't want that. So we just put in false here. Great, we now have a command that automatically imports the data we've copied from Discord into Google Sheets. So let's just use this data we've got here, and even though it's not Sunday today, we're going to make a dummy week just to demonstrate how exactly this would work. So we copy this command into here. Now obviously we don't want it from N to O, because that would be week 3. We want to instead get it from R to S. So we're going to replace this with R1 and S1, and then we keep the 2 and the false and the B2 and the VLOOKUP. That should all remain the same. So instead we've now got 187,000, which if we check this list here and we go down to hazed blue, what would that be? Here we go, hazed blue has 187,000. So that just proves that this works. The smart thing about Google Sheets is that we don't have to rewrite the same command for every single cell in this column. We can just, if we click on the bottom right hand corner and drag the cell down all the way to cover all of the members, it will copy the same command into all of the other cells into the same column. However, it will also change all the rows accordingly. For example, you can see that as we drag down this cell, which initially said B2, in the subsequent cells it will say B3, B4, B5, B6, and so on over here. So they won't all be searching for hazed blue's Guild XP, but instead for the Guild XP of the guild member in the same row. And the reason we have $signs in front of the B and the R and the 1 and the S and the 150 here is because we don't want that to change as we drag the cell down. The only thing we want to change is this number here, the B2. We change that to a B3 and a B4 and a B5. So for that reason we don't put a $sign in front of this. I'll leave this command in the description below. You can edit it for your own purposes. Obviously don't keep everything exactly the same. The only reason we have a B4 here is because I've put the IGNs into the B column, and because this is in the 4th row down. So you're going to have to change it accordingly for your own guild purposes. But this is the general template you should be using. And that's that. We're all done for tracking Guild XP for this week. In the next week, we'll do the exact same thing. We'll go into Discord, type !weekly mandala all, copy the data into Notepad, remove the spaces, then paste the data into Google Sheets. We'll split the data to separate the IGN and the Guild XP values into different columns, and then we'll use the find and replace tool to remove the colons. And then finally, we'll copy and paste the VLOOKUP command into the next column in the spreadsheet containing the Guild XP table, and we'll drag the command down to fill all of the other spaces in the guild, and we're done. So the only small thing I'll add before we finish the video is about color coding the cells. Now this is really useful to allow us to easily see, just by glancing at the table, who has enough GXP and who doesn't. So in Mandala, the requirements are a minimum of 70k GXP every week, so an average of 10k GXP every day. Actually, we'll just remove this dummy week because it's complicating matters. Okay. Let's look at average daily Guild XP for hazed blue. So you'll see that, again, similarly to the VLOOKUP tool, instead of the actual value here, we have a complicated equation type thing here. So this, to calculate average daily Guild XP, we'll find the total Guild XP collected by that member along the same row, as we can see with the sum command. Then divide this by the total number of weeks with the count. In this case it's 3. And then we'll multiply this by the number of days in a week, which is 7, so we get daily Guild XP as opposed to average weekly Guild XP, and then that will give us a result of 37,477. To color code this, we simply click on the fill icon at the top. We then click on conditional formatting, which opens up a menu on the right called conditional format roles. This automatically sets the color for the cell. In this case, if the value is greater than or greater than or equal to 70k, we automatically set the cell to be green, as the guild member has played a sufficient amount on Hypixel to get us 70k GXP for that week. However, if it is less than or equal to 69,999, the guild member has not played a sufficient amount, and the cell will be colored red automatically. If the cell is empty, we set the cell to be grey, as we can see from the rest of the table here. Okay, I think that's the end of the video. I hope you find this tutorial useful for monitoring GXP in the future. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them ASAP. For now, this has been BubbleTot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!